Hi, welcome to the Batavia Depot Museum. My name is Amber Foster and I'm curator here. So I'm taking you today on a virtual tour of our new exhibit, Community, Culture, and Conversations, African American Heritage in Batavia. So we're going to start here at the intro panel. In the decades before the Civil War, many freedom seekers settled in Batavia by chance and circumstance on the east side of the Fox River. The first official record of black families living in Batavia can be found in the 1860 census, where 3 families were recorded: the Smiths, the Stewarts, and the Watts. These settlers were everyday people doing everyday things, but they created a life and legacy here in Batavia. You see, heroes can be regular people who do extraordinary things for their communities by being service-minded and filling a need when necessary. For the early black settlers, that meant prospering in the face of adversity and finding a home in Batavia. Whether it be in service to the community or in the arts, black community members have played a key role in the history, whether they stayed in Batavia or in the larger world. Members who have left a significant imprint include, here we have Charles Hall. He worked under President Franklin D. Roosevelt and was the leading authority on black statistics through the U.S. Census. We also have Coralie Boyd, who was a grandniece of Booker T. Washington, and she was an educator who shared her faith through music. And then also we have Truman Hazelwood, pastor of Logan Street Baptist Church, and he was never afraid to fight for what he believed in. Jeannie White Prince, granddaughter of one of Batavia's early black settlers, John Osier, spoke of the rich history in Batavia at the Historical Society meeting in February 14th of 1965. In her closing remarks, she expressed, and I'm just going to read it here: "Time has erased from my memory nearly all the old-timers, but good luck to the present group who are making their homes here, and may they hold high the torch of success passed on to them in their different fields, be it church, school, hospital, or science. May the God of all men walk beside them each day to make and keep us united as a city." John and Ann Osier came to Batavia on November 8, 1871. The cottage that they lived in was located on the corner of River and Gore Street. At the time, the Osiers paid $61 for that lot of land. Osier was a Civil War Army veteran who enlisted with the United States Colored Troops and fought in the battles of Bull Run. He passed away in 1919 at over 100 years old, the oldest Batavian at the time. Osier Street in Batavia is named in his honor. During the Great Migration between 1910 and 1920, African Americans by the thousands poured into industrial cities to find work and fill labor shortages created by World War I. In Batavia, black community members made a living as laborers, factory workers, and owners of small businesses, taking full advantage of the opportunities and resources available. During this period, many national organizations also took shape, such as the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People in 1909 and the Urban League in 1910. According to his obituary, James Stewart's family may have been the first African American family in Batavia, with the arrival date of 1852. James was the youngest of 3 children by William and Elizabeth Stewart. He joined the Union Army with his brother Jordan in 1864. Jordan was killed in combat, but James returned upon learning the barber trade from his father. Upon returning, he bought 2 buildings in 1916 at 115 and 117 East Wilson Street. Mr. Stewart opened a barber shop with his wife Amanda, which also functioned as the family home. The frame home where the Stewarts lived and worked was at the back of the lot. They rented out the other building. The Stewarts' home was eventually torn down in 1999. Here we have a Logan Street church program circa 1950. Reverend William Mitchell was the first pastor of the congregation and served 27 years from 1928 through 1955. The program of his service includes the scripture lessons Psalm 121 and the song All Hail the Power of Jesus' Name. Next we have the Logan Street Church Deacons photo circa 1960. This is the last group of deacons during the era of Reverend Julius Boyd. Back row from left to right, we have Walter Hazelwood, Roy Johnson, Robert Buckner, Sylvester Buck, Ezra Barnett, Thomas Williams, and Richard Cowherd. Front row from left to right, Harvey Johnson, Alex Wallace, Sr., Reverend Julius Boyd, and Elmer Willis. As part of our exhibit conversations, we have many period talking points within the exhibit. In 1986, 24 National Progressive Baptist pastors, including Batavia's Reverend Truman Hazelwood, traveled to the South African Embassy in Washington, D.C. to demonstrate against South Africa's apartheid policies. Hazelwood and many others were arrested in an effort to pressure the United States to push for changes in South Africa's policy of strict racial segregation and discrimination. Apartheid ended through a series of negotiations between 1990 and 1993. A new constitution in South Africa took effect in 1994, marking the official end. The Furnace Foundation Robert Buckner Scholarship has been awarded since 1994 to eligible African American students from Batavia in honor of longtime Batavia resident, the late Robert Buckner. An accomplished professional accountant, Buckner believed that organizations should serve the needs of all people. Latrice Williams was the first award recipient for the 1994-95 school year. Thank you for joining us at the Batavia Depot Museum.